Hello and good day. Welcome to Learngage. I am Mr. Techno, and in today's episode of Learning the English Language, we're going to look at something called the relative pronouns. Now, in this particular episode, we are going to take as a case study the relative pronouns called who, W-H-O, and whom. Now we have questions on the board, which is on your screen, that will help us convey this message. All right. When do I use WHO and when do I use WHOM? Okay. Now come with me. I'm going to give you some hands-on rules or principles that will guide you. Number one, when you are given a statement, a question to be precise, and a gap is given also to be filled with either WHO or WHOM. All right, it's not so much of a big deal. All you have to do is follow these rules that I am about to reel out. The first thing you look out for is check for the word that is directly after the gap. Are you with me? So when you see a question on relative pronouns and they give you a gap, and then in the options, you find options like these: whomever, who, whoever, which, and so on. All right. Check for the word that is directly after the gap, and then do the following. If you find out that the word directly after the gap you are asked to fill is a noun or a pronoun, kindly make use of WHOM. Take notes. So if I'm given a gap to fill, and then that gap is coming before a noun or a pronoun, all right? In relative pronouns, I am to fill that gap with WHOM, which we call whom. But if I check directly after the gap and I find a verb present, I am expected to use WHO. Are you there? I'll take that again. If I have a gap to fill with the relative pronouns who or whom, and I find that there is a noun or pronoun directly after the gap, I am to make use of WHOM. But if there is a verb directly after the gap, I am to make use of WHO. Are you with me? So let's look at these two questions. Question one. Actually, he forgot the one to dash the job was given. Are we there? To dash the job was given. So what I have to do first is to check for the word that is directly after my gap. So right here, I will find this expression called the job. Now, if you are familiar with nouns, pronouns, and verbs, you should know that this expression is a noun, right? Good. So because it is a noun, remember my rule. I will then fill this gap with WHOM, which is option D. Simple and short. Are we there? Now let's see question two. My father was not sure dash the strange guests were. So look at my gap, and then just after the gap, I have an expression called the strange guests, which is equally a noun. So all I simply have to do is fill this gap with WHOM again, which in this particular question is option B. Easy peasy, right? Now let's come over to this side. Question 3 says, this is the man dash killed. Emphasis on killed. This is a verb this time around, coming directly after the gap. So what am I supposed to use? Yes, you got that right. We're going to make use of WHO. You get that? Now, there's something else examiners have devised to confuse a lot of exam candidates when it comes to the use of who and whom. And what is that? In the English language, we call it parenthesis. What is parenthesis? Parenthesis is simply, apart from being a punctuation mark, of course, parenthesis in grammar is simply an additional expression or word which actually does not need to be there. How do I mean? A parenthesis is an expression that provides additional information which is irrelevant, meaning that we can take the parenthesis away from the question and the question will still be correct grammatically. All right. So what are the examples of parentheses that examiners employ? We have something called somebody said, where somebody could be anybody. Somebody said something, somebody believes something, or somebody thinks something. So when you see expressions like these in a question on relative pronouns, simply remove them. All right? And then what you do next is still the basic rule I gave you. Ignore the parentheses and check for the next word. See what I mean? Come with me. This is the boy dash they said killed the snake. Look up to this question. This is the man dash killed. It was direct, a verb, so we use who. Now they planted an expression here just before the verb to confuse you. So if you are an unsuspecting exam candidate on the English language, you would consider this word here called they as a pronoun, and then you would fill the gap with WHOM. I'm afraid to announce to you that if you do that, you have just failed successfully. All right? Now, what do you do? Like I said, this is the expression that is your parenthesis. They said, somebody thinks, or somebody believes. Now, if I ignore this expression, the next word I'll find is killed, which is a verb. So my answer would remain WHO. Do you get that? So let's do the same here. That is the pet dash I believe she loves dearly. That is the pet dash I believe she loves dearly. Locate your parenthesis. I believe. Are we there? Now, what's the next word here? She. That's a pronoun, meaning I will have to make use of WHON. I hope we got that. All right. Now, that is just the basic rule that guides the operation of WHO and WHOM. It doesn't get any worse than this or any more critical than this. It's very easy. All right. Go through this video over and over again, and I will implore you, if you have a very good past question, all right, go and answer questions on the use of who and whom. Okay, and then you will find that the rules I just gave to you are actually airtight. Yes, and they will work across questions. All right, and then if you encounter anything that is strange or too difficult for you to answer, that is why we are here. Bring those questions to us, and we will do class teachings on them or video clarifications on those gray areas. All right, thank you very much again for joining me on today's episode of Learning the English Language. I remain Mr. Techno. Don't stop liking, don't stop subscribing, and don't stop telling others. It's Lengage. It's a community of English language lovers. Good day.